Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining this webinar on Bitbucket Cloud. We're so glad to have you here today. My name is Ash, and I'm a product marketer on the Bitbucket Cloud team. In today's presentation, we have two fantastic speakers lined up for you. We have Clarke, Bitbucket Cloud's new head of product. Chris has been with Atlassian for over 8 years in several leadership roles. And we have Dave Parrish, a senior product manager on Bitbucket Cloud who manages our migrations program. Dave has been with Atlassian for over a decade and has worked across several products on the Atlassian stack. First, let's start off with some context on why we're here. As many of you know, Atlassian is ending support for Bitbucket Server in February 2024. And given that the overall industry is moving towards cloud tools, we're seeing many customers come to us with questions on Bitbucket Cloud and the migration process. These questions revolve around three themes. Is your code safe on the Atlassian Cloud Platform? How Atlassian is investing in Bitbucket Cloud, and how to plan your migration. The purpose of this session is to provide answers to these questions and give you an opportunity to ask your questions directly to the product team. Let's have a look at the agenda. Chris will start us off with the product vision and objectives, and then will give us a closer look into the roadmap by walking us through some recently launched features and what we're currently building. Next, Dave will give you a quick comparison of Bitbucket Cloud and Bitbucket Data Center and how to decide what's right for your team. He'll walk you through some tips on how to plan for your migration and some resources that are available to you as you progress in your journey. And finally, we'll wrap up with a Q&A. A little bit of housekeeping before we begin. On the right side of your screen, you'll see a Q&A window. Please ask your questions at any time during the presentation. We have a team responding to questions during the presentation, and we'll have a live Q&A after. Next, on the Resources tab above the Q&A console, you'll see some links to helpful content on the Atlassian Cloud Platform and some migration documentation. And finally, this presentation is being recorded. A couple of days after the webinar, you will get an email with a recording link, so you can review it again or share it with your team. And with that, I will hand it over to Chris.
Thank you, Ash. Hi, everyone. My name is Chris, and I'm the new head of product for Bitbucket Cloud. I've been at Atlassian for just over 8 years, and during that time, I've been focused mainly on our data center and migration products. Before joining Atlassian, I was VP of product at a company called CollabNet, where I helped pioneer cloud-based source code management. I'm really excited to work with the Bitbucket Cloud team and customers like you to take Bitbucket Cloud to the next level. Does this sound familiar? You're an IT professional at a small, medium, or large enterprise, and you spend a ton of time and money setting up a Bitbucket server or data center instance that's tightly integrated with your test, build, and deployment systems. There's pressure to move to cloud, but migration seems daunting and you have questions. Should you move to or remain on data center? Should you migrate to Bitbucket Cloud? Or should you look at other options? If you're like many of our Bitbucket server and data center customers, you're considering cloud, but you're still trying to decide if it's got what you need. Is it compliant and scalable enough? Is it compatible with your internal processes and your integrations? Will your end users like it? Will downstream licensing and administration costs break your bank? To help understand at least some of these questions, let's take a closer look at the product and where we're headed. Why do we think that Bitbucket Cloud is the right long-term code, CI, and CD solution for enterprises of all shapes and sizes? Before we dive in, I've got to do the legal thing. TLDR, roadmaps are subject to change. So let's start by laying out our objectives for the product and for the user experience. Our first objective is for Bitbucket Cloud to be trusted. Admins and end users should sleep well, knowing that their data is secure, the system is compliant, and the service is performant and reliable. Our customers should be able to set their watches by our deliverables and our roadmap, and we always strive to deliver what we say when we say it. Our second objective is to be integrated. We already have some great integrations, but there's more work to be done across Jira Software, Identity, Access, Ecosystem, and the Open DevOps toolchain. For those of you who use the rest of the Atlassian stack, there should be no better code, CI, and CD solution, bar none. Our third objective is for the experience to be productive for our users. We're proud of our clean and streamlined UI, but there's more work to be done to reduce cycle and wait times in areas like code review and CI/CD. We embrace the fact that Bitbucket Cloud is for enterprise team development, not open source, and we design accordingly. Now, let's use these objectives to talk about where we are with Bitbucket Cloud today, what we've been working on lately, and where we're headed in the future. Where is Bitbucket Cloud today? Well, let's start with trusted. Bitbucket Cloud is a well-established, well-respected product that serves over 15 million developers globally. It is based on our always evolving Atlassian cloud platform, which itself serves over 250,000 customers globally across all of our Atlassian products. Bitbucket Cloud is powered by AWS, it's SOC 2, and in other ways certified, and has an array of enterprise capabilities that help our customers sleep at night, including encryption at rest and in transit, hourly backups, and much more. It's also important to note that betting on Bitbucket Cloud means betting on Atlassian platform, which confers its benefits across our entire stack. When it comes to integrations, Bitbucket Cloud has a lot to offer. We have a first-class integration with Jira software that lets you see code and deployment status from within Jira and Jira planning and tracking information from within Bitbucket. You can also create automation rules to connect and automate processes across Jira and Bitbucket. We also have app link integrations with Confluence Compass, Trello, and Jira Service Management. You can even submit and track the progress of change requests from within Bitbucket pipelines to minimize context switching. Similar to Jira and Confluence, Bitbucket also integrates with a variety of apps and partner solutions across our ecosystem and marketplace. A great example of this is our partnership with Sneak, which helps developers stay on top of code quality and security issues right on the Bitbucket menu bar. Lastly, Bitbucket Cloud leverages the Atlassian platform for everything from our world-class editors to the platform services that make Bitbucket Cloud tick. When it comes to productivity, Bitbucket Cloud has one of the cleanest and most streamlined interfaces in the code CI/CD business across a variety of features, from source code to CI/CD and everything in between. There's always more to do to make our user experience as productive as it can possibly be, but based on extensive customer surveys, Bitbucket Cloud has one of the highest user satisfaction rates across all Atlassian products. Now let's talk about what the Bitbucket Cloud team has been working on lately. In November, we added audit logs, which for many customers is an essential feature for traceability and troubleshooting. Our audit log feature lets organizational admins trace critical Bitbucket user activity, including who, what, and when actions were performed. Audit logs are available today to Bitbucket Cloud customers with Atlassian Access. In January, we added project and workspace access tokens, which in addition to repository access tokens, give admins at various levels a secure way to manage repository access. As the names imply, these new access token types allow access to repository-based APIs and Git operations that fall under a specific project or a specific workspace. Project and workspace access tokens are available today to Bitbucket Cloud customers with a premium license. In March and April, we rolled out project permissions, a feature our customers have been asking for years. With project permissions, project admins can now grant access to all repositories within a project without having to manage each repository individually, which is good for scale, efficiency, and security. Project permissions are available today to all Bitbucket Cloud customers. In May, we delivered project-level branch restrictions to help our customers securely manage code at scale. Project-level branch restrictions help you finally control access to specific branches so only authorized team members can push or merge based on a list of conditions, like approval requirements, successful build status, and resolved tasks. Project-level branch restrictions are available today to all Bitbucket Cloud customers. Moving on to integrations. Over the last year, the Bitbucket Cloud team has been busy making one of the most significant changes we've ever made, which will benefit Bitbucket customers of all shapes and sizes. Internally, we call it shared user management. Let me explain. In Bitbucket Cloud today, users authenticate through the Atlassian platform, but user entitlement, user administration, and user provisioning are managed separately in Bitbucket. This means that customers with Bitbucket Cloud and other Atlassian products have to manage users in two places, which can be challenging at scale. When we deliver shared user management, all of that changes. User entitlement, user administration, and user provisioning move to the Atlassian platform, and its centralized administration UI. Not only does this make Bitbucket Cloud consistent with our other products, but it also clears the way for customers to use Atlassian Access for proper identity provider integration, complete with SCIM syncing. So now that you know what we mean by shared user management, when do we plan to deliver it? The answer is over 2 phases. In the first half of 2024, we'll roll it out to Bitbucket Server and Data Center migrators. And in the second half of 2024, we'll roll it out to all existing Bitbucket Cloud customers. Dave will talk later about the details, but if shared user management is a must-have for your organization, your migration timing will be critical. And now on to productivity. In March, we delivered the first major piece of what our customers have been asking for a long time, syntax highlighting on PR reviews. When you switch it on in lab settings, pull request diffs will include highlighted syntax for hundreds of the most common programming languages. Syntax highlighting is available today to all Bitbucket Cloud customers in labs. And finally, in April, we implemented one of our most popular feature requests, resolvable comments. Code reviewers can now resolve pull request comment threads, and once resolved, collapse them. This makes it easier for reviewers to put completed work behind them and focus on what remains. Resolvable comments are available today to all Bitbucket Cloud customers. Now let's talk a little bit about where we're headed with Bitbucket Cloud in the future. We have lots of exciting changes planned that will make Bitbucket Cloud more secure, private, and compliant. These include features like enforced signed commits, which will enable the use of GPG keys to encrypt and sign commits or tags to verify contributions. Enforced project settings, which will enable admins to force all repositories within a project to inherit project level settings. In the longer term, we'll also deliver data residency and FedRAMP compliance once we've completed some of the more basic table stakes. Again, it's important to note that many of these changes derive from the Atlassian platform, which is designed to benefit all of our products. Another big investment area for us is enabling the use of Forge, which is Atlassian's serverless app development platform, to customize and extend Bitbucket Cloud in a variety of ways. Here's some examples. Custom check logic that fires off during the code CI/CD lifecycle before merging, before kicking off the CI/CD pipeline, and before deploying. We'll start the ball rolling with custom merge checks later this year, which will enable your teams to implement custom logic to gate pull request merges based on your own internal compliance policies. We're also very keen to empower teams to extend Bitbucket Cloud on the front and back end, and to plug in custom business logic where appropriate. If we've learned anything about what our enterprise customers need, it's that they need a canvas where they can safely and securely deploy customized logic without having to keep everything behind their firewalls. To round things out, we're also planning a series of improvements that will help developers be more productive by reducing the time it takes to get shit done, both in terms of human cycle time and system wait time. Just to name a few, iterative code review, which will make it faster and easier to review changes since they last reviewed a pull request. AI-assisted code review, which will use a combination of Atlassian intelligence and ecosystem integrations to help review code. Faster repository infrastructure, which will make read and write operations significantly faster across the board. Faster CI/CD infrastructure, which will shave precious system wait time off of builds, tests, and deploys. Pre-detecting flaky tests, which will reduce developer headaches when debugging failed pipeline runs. And we've also identified a series of places where we can optimize our pipeline caches, further speeding up CI/CD. The TLDR is that we're committed to squeezing every last millisecond out of our user experience and backend services, and your input on this will be critical. So where does that leave us? We've delivered a ton of enterprise value recently. There are life-changing administration features just around the corner, and there's lots of exciting features and capabilities to look forward to on our roadmap. As the new guy in town, I'm confident that the Bitbucket Cloud team is delivering and will continue to deliver what enterprises need now and in the future. Let's evolve the future of code CI/CD together. Okay, now that you have a better idea about Bitbucket Cloud, let's talk about migration. Whether you decide to migrate to cloud now or remain on data center, Understanding and planning for what it will take to move your code and CI/CD toolchain to cloud is essential to getting it right. Here's Dave Parrish to talk about migrating to Bitbucket Cloud.
Thanks, Chris. Hey, everybody. So just a word of introduction about me before we talk in more detail about migrating to Bitbucket Cloud. I have been an Atlassian product manager for more than a decade, with much of that time spent working with enterprise customers and solution partners in our cloud ecosystem. I love working with customers in the DevOps space. And in recent years, I've been lucky enough to be a PM on Statuspage, Compass, and now on Bitbucket Cloud. And at Bitbucket, I'm responsible for our Lighthouse program, ensuring a great experience for enterprise customers that are migrating to cloud. So a couple important things that I'll be covering. First off, key differences between our cloud and data center products and how to decide which one is right for you. Things you should think about as you plan your migration, and an overview of migration resources to help you along the way. To start off, with the impending end of life of server products, we recognize that you have a choice: move to or remain on Bitbucket Data Center, or migrate to Bitbucket Cloud. Atlassian stands fully behind both products, and we continue to invest heavily in both. So let's take a look at some key reasons you might want to choose one over the other. If you are in a regulated industry that requires compliance with HIPAA or FedRAMP, or if you have a data residency requirement, you should choose Bitbucket Data Center. In the future, we'll be offering all these capabilities for Bitbucket Cloud, and you'll always have the option of migrating at that time. The other consideration is scale. While both data center and cloud support teams with thousands of users, if you have more than 10,000 users, we recommend Bitbucket Data Center today. We continue to improve the scalability of Bitbucket Cloud, and we'll be able to support larger teams in the future. So, who should choose cloud? In short, unless one of the factors we just talked about applies to you, Bitbucket Cloud is our recommendation. You'll avoid the overhead of managing servers in-house and manually updating versions. Your teams will get immediate access to all the latest features in Bitbucket Cloud, and you'll get all the benefits of the Atlassian Cloud Platform: security, reliability, scalability, compliance, and centralized administration. If you're still unsure about which version of Bitbucket is right for you, I'll be talking later in this presentation about resources Atlassian provides to help you make your decision. So now that you understand the differences between cloud and data center, let's talk about the migration process. Just to note that if you're a Bitbucket server customer looking to migrate to data center, there's a document in the resources section of this webinar that will give you all the information you need. The rest of this presentation will focus on cloud migration. So there are 4 things you should be thinking about as you plan your migration: timing, degree of transformation, what to migrate, and how to migrate. And this first point, timing, is the most important one, especially for customers on Bitbucket Server, which has its end of life in February 2024. Now is the time to start planning for your move to cloud. Migration timelines are going to vary greatly depending on the complexity of your setup, availability of resources at your company. This process can take anything from a month in simple cases up to many months in more complicated ones. The actual data migration is a small part of the process. Much more of your time is going to be spent in planning. So for this reason, and especially if you're moving to cloud before the server end of life, it's essential that you start your planning process now if you haven't already. There are a number of factors to consider, and Atlassian provides tools to make this process easier, but you want to have things well planned and tested ahead of time before you do the actual move. There's one more very important timing consideration: shared user management. Early in this webinar, you heard Chris talk about this new capability we're building that will enable you to provision and manage your Bitbucket users centrally alongside your other Atlassian cloud products. We'll be making this available to our migrating customers first, starting in early 2024. And so it turns out that this will impact your decision about migration timing. If you need or want to migrate now before shared user management is available, that's fully supported. You'll manage your users in Bitbucket at first, and then you'll be able to adopt the shared user management platform in the future, likely in the second half of 2024. However, if you can wait to schedule your migration for early 2024, you'll then get access to shared user management right away. This is the path we recommend if shared user management is a must-have for you, and if you're able to wait. Whichever option you choose, you should start your migration planning now. The next factor to consider when planning your move to cloud is what kind of transformation you're looking for. Ask yourself, are you happy with the way you've structured your repositories and your projects? You may be looking for a simple transition of your current structure, or this could be an opportunity to restructure for the future, to serve your business needs better. So to start out, draw all the transitions where users and data are going to move from server or data center to cloud. For some of you, this is going to be a simple one-to-one translation of what you already have. But for others, it's an opportunity to optimize. Maybe you want to consolidate multiple server instances into one Bitbucket Cloud workspace. Or maybe you want to move from a single monolithic server into multiple cloud workspaces. And of course, there's not going to be one right answer. Every migration is unique. Another important question for your team to answer is, how much of your existing content do you want to migrate? Do you really need to migrate everything? Or is this an opportunity to clean house a bit? You may have inactive users, legacy projects, and unused apps that you could leave behind, taking only what's important when you move to cloud. We should also talk about your options for CI/CD. When you move your code to the cloud, you'll want to maintain continuity with your CI/CD process for building, testing, and deploying code. Bitbucket Cloud supports a number of different options. You can continue to use your existing CI/CD tool, whether that's Bamboo, Jenkins, or something else. Bitbucket Cloud has easily configurable webhooks that can trigger your CI/CD pipelines. Your other option is Bitbucket Pipelines, a powerful and highly configurable CI/CD platform that's built right into Bitbucket. With pipelines, you have the option to run your builds on Atlassian's platform. Pipelines can also trigger builds on your own self-hosted runners. If you're considering Bitbucket Pipelines, we highly recommend that you focus on your code migration first, ensuring continuity of your existing CI/CD process. The last thing to consider is how you want to migrate. There are several different approaches you can take. This is all about considering the rate of change you're looking for. One option is a lift and shift or big bang approach, where you take your full server or DC instance as is and migrate it in a single downtime window. This makes sense when you're looking to move to cloud quickly with a compressed migration timeline. A variation of this is to optimize and shift, where you do some pre-cleaning of Bitbucket server or data center, removing old data and inactive users, and then only migrate the necessary data and users in a single downtime window. On the other hand, you may want to do a phased migration, breaking it up into multiple batches, each with its own downtime. This obviously takes longer, but it allows you to do a progressive rollout, learning as you go. And finally, you may choose to start fresh. Simply leave projects behind in your old Bitbucket server or data center instance and bring only the users over. Old projects can still be run on your old infrastructure, but new projects should be created in cloud. So as you've seen, there's a lot to think about when considering your migration to Bitbucket Cloud. And the good news is you're not alone. Atlassian provides a number of tools and resources to ensure you have a successful move to cloud. The first one is the Bitbucket Cloud Migration Assistant. This is a free app that you install on your server or DC instance. It helps you test and run the actual migration of your content to Bitbucket Cloud. As I mentioned before, you may be looking to migrate all your code repositories at once, or you may want to do a phased migration over time. BCMA supports either of these workflows, providing you flexibility to approach migrating your content in the way that works best for you. The Migration Assistant does a pre-flight assessment to make sure your content is ready to move to the cloud. You can do any number of test migrations, and then when you're ready, it moves all of your users, projects, repositories, and their full history to Bitbucket Cloud, including your pull request history. Note that there are a few things that BCMA doesn't migrate, like user group permissions and repository settings. You'll need to reestablish those once you've moved your repos to the cloud. There's a document in the resources section of this webinar that tells you everything you need to know. More than 1,000 customers from SMBs to enterprises have successfully migrated to Bitbucket Cloud using the Migration Assistant. Now, in addition to that, we have a number of people resources to help you with your migration. Attached to this presentation is a link to our Migration Center, which provides a host of tools, documentation, and support resources to help you have a successful move. So here's an overview of what we have available. If you're still weighing whether Bitbucket Cloud or DC is the right platform for you, customer advocates can help you understand the differences, as well as pricing and licensing. Once you've decided on a move to cloud, cloud migration managers help you to plan your migration. This is going to be especially important if your migration will be large or complex. So if you're moving 250 or more users to the cloud, we highly recommend that you engage a migration manager early in the process. As you move past the planning phase, we have migration support engineers available to provide you with dedicated technical support during the test, execution, and launch of Bitbucket Cloud at your company. All of these resources are available to you as an Atlassian customer. A final resource, and one that many large customers choose, is to work with an Atlassian solution partner company. We have a vast network of these trusted partners, certified by Atlassian, who can provide you with end-to-end support for your move to cloud. Solution partners are available in every region and are an excellent choice if your Bitbucket environment is large or complex, or if you don't have the resources to devote to all aspects of the migration process. So I want to thank all of you for your time in attending this webinar. I know we've covered a lot of material today, and there are likely some questions you have for us. So with that, I'll hand things back over to Ash for some Q&A.
Thank you, Dave and Chris, for a great presentation. One more thing before we get to Q&A. Atlassian was recently named a leader in the Gartner Magic Quadrant for DevOps platforms. As Gartner puts it, Atlassian is a good fit for organizations looking for a DevOps platform with service management and incident response automation capabilities. As you heard from Chris earlier, when you use Bitbucket Cloud with Jira Software, Confluence, and Jira Service Management, you get end-to-end visibility and collaboration from planning to code to change and incident management. And with that, let's get to Q&A.